I am impressed. I'm genuinely impressed.
I've done that, and it hasn't done it. So once again, I've missed my exit. It's now not going down the tunnel. That's where we needed to go. Meanwhile, that car has just gone straight through a red light. So, you know, the self-driving car saw the red light and has stopped. Now I'm about to do something that no one has ever done before. I'm here in Sydney and I'm going to travel south about 1,000 kilometres to Melbourne, and I'm not going to do any driving. This is a full self-driving Tesla Model 3, and now with full self-driving Supervised available in Australia, I'm going to let it take me on the Great Australian Road Trip. What's going to happen? Well, the whole point of being the first to do it is nobody knows. Okay, well, it is time to boldly go where no one has gone before, well, certainly in Australia. So, how does this work? It's actually really, really simple. As part of the setup process on the Tesla, I've gone through and clicked OK and I accept to all of the full self-driving bits and pieces. All I need to do is go into the navigation system here, and I'll put in the office address in Melbourne. Nice easy keyboard here. Let's go. There it is, Raglan Street, South Melbourne, 716 kilometres away. We can see that's what it's going to do. It's suggesting I charge in Goulburn and then in Holbrook. And it reckons I'll get there with 10% energy to go. And literally all I do is tap. Here we go, full self-driving Supervised, that's me. And in theory, away we go. Here we go, full self-driving Supervised. Oh, and we are off. Okay, well, there we go. We are on our way to Melbourne in a full self-driving Tesla. As you can see, the wheel is turning. I'm going to put my sunglasses on. The navigating around that open door there. And, well, that's kind of it. So what do we need to know? And so while we get out of Sydney, here are some things that we've seen so far. The system is cautious. And as you can see, we're coming up to a pedestrian crossing here. The car's put its indicator on. We're moving forward. I'm looking for traffic. Car's looking for traffic. You can see on the screen here, it maps out a little blue line where it's going to go. Windscreen wipers are on automatic. It's just doing what it does. I'll put the navigation on so I can see where it's planning. It's moved around a car that was turning right. So it has seen that car's indicator and has come around. It's all a bit surreal, really. But yeah, this is it. And it's a bit disconcerting, but we're only at road speed. So where am I thinking? Once we get onto the highway where we're dealing with highway speeds, up to 110 kilometres an hour on the Hume Highway, how is the car going to behave there? Now, what's that saying? Don't know. Apply slight force to the steering wheel? Don't know. No? There we go. What will it do? Will it sit behind a truck? Will it overtake? How will it manage these things? And of course, it says that it may need some charging in Goulburn and in Holbrook. Will it manage that? Will it see what's happening? So here we go, orange light. That looked like that car was going to come through, but didn't. The car was cautious. And like I said, it is very, very risk averse. So it is taking things carefully. It is making conservative decisions. So I'm not feeling like it's wildly out of control or anything like that at all. It's quite sedate. But perhaps there were some things yesterday when we were coming through Sydney, it made some decisions that maybe I would have done a little bit differently as a human driver. But that said, I was able to navigate from Tesla's headquarters to the office, and now leaving the office in North Sydney. We're on the way. This whole section of North Sydney is just basically roadworks. You can probably see it outside the car. You've got non-stop construction, all this sort of thing. So even as a human driver from Melbourne, I don't know where all the lanes go and all the bits and pieces are. So the fact that the car has to figure this out and is sort of doing so reasonably well. So what's it saying? It's saying It said it wanted some turning force to the steering wheel there. Now, I don't know what that means. All I did was put my hand on it. But that's not a feature of the full self-driving. It might be because the roads are quite poorly surfaced here because of the roadworks. But this is navigating this section of Sydney probably better than I would. So here we go. Green light. It's a bit weird. Following the signs. Oh, what are we doing? Yeah, it's cut a lane there. But that's okay. You know, a bit of last minute lane decision choice. But we're now coming across onto the highway here to go across the Sydney Harbour Bridge all by ourselves. You know, the thing is, so here's the rule. This is full self-driving supervised. So I have to be ready to take control at a moment's notice. And my feet, you can't see them, but my feet are kind of poised and hovering over the pedals. My hands are here to take control of the wheel should I need to. I'm looking in the mirrors, doing all that sort of stuff. I can't, you know, stare out the window and take photos or read a book or do anything like that. I have to actually be an active participant, even though I am an inactive participant. So there we go. Coming across the Sydney Harbour Bridge on our way to Melbourne, according to this. It's getting us to Goulburn around 9:15 in the morning, so we'll stop and see how that goes to charge. And yeah, the Great Australian Passenger Road Trip. Let's see how we go. Well, that didn't take long. Here we are. We're still in Sydney. We're on the Anzac Bridge. And it's come up with a thing saying autopilot unavailable for the rest of this trip. Now, it still says that we're navigating. If I go to reactivate the system, it says that I cannot use it for current drive. It says an autopilot strikeout, attention warnings ignored. And basically what happened is it came up on the screen saying apply a little bit of force to the steering wheel. So what this means, it is checking to see that I am adequately supervising this process, that I am here and I'm listening to the car. So where it said to do these things and I didn't, it's now gone, well, too bad, so sad. I'm afraid that you are no longer able to use full self-driving. So what we'll need to do is stop and restart the journey. Problem is I'm on a freeway, can't really do that. So what I'll do, I'll find a safe place to pull over and we will reinitiate the journey and I will follow the instructions as I am supposed to. But it just goes to show that you can't game this system. You couldn't go and stick a bag of flour in this seat and send the car off to interstate without a worry. It is checking to see that my supervision is, in fact, proper supervision. So, you know, big tick there. Annoying because now we've got to start it again, but it's actually really good to know. So when that system comes up and says, oh, you need to be clicking that button, I know that I need to be clicking that button. So here we go. We will get through this section of the road and I will start it again. Okay, well, take two. So here we go. We're stopped. We can go to where we said we were going to go. It's come back up. It's saying, here are our trips ready to go. And then autopilot strikeout. How do I do this to turn that off? There we go. Maybe this isn't the way. Maybe I need to get out and lock the car. All right, so here we go. Proper take two, or is it now take three? We've stopped the car, we've put it into park. It's told us what we need to do. So every time it does warn us, do need to put hands on the wheels. So I've set the trip. We are ready to go into full self-driving. I'm going to go into park. There we go. We're going to say navigate. We'll go to South Melbourne again. It's doing what it needs to do. We are there. I'm going to hit the button. Press and hold for full self-driving. And we are, once again, we are away. But at least now I know not to ignore the things that come up on screen. So there we go. The more you know. All right. And again, Very impressive how it judges traffic. It moves into traffic flow, and we are off and cooking. All right, well, we're learning together, you and I. So next time, fingers crossed, we are well underway. Okay, well, it seems that the self-driving car is not that far removed from a human driving car, in that it has gotten lost in Sydney's new tunnels. So coming through near the airport here, we came into the Rozelle interchange, and there is a split where 2 lanes come off to the left to get to the airport and 2 lanes go to the right for the continuation to the Hume Highway and to Canberra to the south. But what happened is, because in the tunnel, the navigation of the car is not getting a strong GPS signal, the car kind of got confused about where it was because it can't see the satellites, and it did not move across into the lanes to go towards Canberra. So even though it sees signs and things, it's not reading the signs. It doesn't see the sign that says Canberra to the right, airport exit to the left. It's stuck in the left lane. Once again, it hasn't put me in danger. It hasn't been unsafe. It's just made an incorrect decision in terms of navigation. And now I'm in a spaghetti junction here near the airport, along with a lot of other Sydney commuting traffic that we'll need to figure ourselves back out onto the road. So again, the fallibilities of the system are not down to the self-driving software per se, but to the understanding that the car does need a lot of inputs in order to be able to not only drive by itself, but navigate by itself as well. And particularly when you've got new roads that confuse human drivers, as Sydney's new tunnel network has done to me on numerous occasions, there's still a fair amount of learning to do. And that, fair to note, I could have overridden. I could have said, no, move to the right. I can tell it to change lanes. But part of this experiment is to just see what the car will do. So we're okay. We're still self-driving. I've learned my lesson with the when the blue light flashes up on the screen to just touch the steering wheel lightly. But we're now stuck in traffic again, and fingers crossed it'll get us back on track before you know it. The fallibilities of the most advanced driving technology still doesn't work in a tunnel. Well, we're about to get back in the tunnel, and I think our car is a little bit confused. It's now got its right indicator on, even though we are turning left. And at a point here, it was waiting at the lights. There was a truck that didn't go on the green, and it was a bit confused. The car was going to go around the truck, even though we were waiting in the turn left lane. The truck finally went. I think that driver wasn't paying attention. And now the car is sitting here. It's not quite sure what it's doing because my right-hand indicator on, even though I do want to be turning left. And you can probably see the wheel is cocked slightly to the left. So, a little bit nervous about what it's going to do next. Not for anything other than I'm getting a bit sick of sitting in Sydney traffic. I kind of want it to make a good decision and get us onto the freeway so we can get underway. But let's see what happens here. So, again, part of this, and look, personally, where are you going to use this? Because if you just want to sit here and do it, the warnings that are coming up to say, apply a little bit of force from the steering wheel, do seem to be, it's now not going down the tunnel. That's where we need it to go. And it's chosen not to go that way. Okay. So there's my force. I don't know what it's doing. The navigation was saying it was going to go left, and then the car has just gone, it had its left indicator on. It had turned the wheel slightly to the left, and then it's gone, nah, we're not going to do that. Meanwhile, that car has just gone straight through a red light. So, the self-driving car saw the red light and has stopped, but the one, we're still not on the freeway. So again, these are the things that we're learning. It's not putting us in danger. It's not doing anything rash or crazy. What it is doing seems to be a little bit more ultra conservative and maybe not making the right decisions. Third or fourth or fifth time's the charm. We've made another entry onto the motorway. Not quite where we wanted to, but anyway, here we go. And we're back in a tunnel and we're back on the freeway, in theory, again on our way south towards Melbourne. The the decisions that have been made in traffic are a little bit bizarre, because I haven't even been going an hour yet. It's not even 8 o'clock. And it is quite interesting. Those traffic decisions and the avoidance of the motorway seems to be a bit weird. What has been quite funny though is the car was driving along indicating right, and there was a guy in a Hilux who just wouldn't let me in. And then he wound down his window and said, why didn't I go? And it's like, well, the car didn't make the decision to accelerate and zip in front of him as you would as a human driver. It was waiting for him to go. So once again, you know, the car is much more polite than the majority of drivers would be. But it's that decision making, it's erring on the side of safety. So it is certainly not it's not an aggressive driver by any stretch, but it's not an assertive driver either. And I think that's the key. But we're back in the tunnel. It still says that we're getting poor GPS accuracy, as you would in any car. So let's see what happens when we see daylight and whether we find ourselves winding our way south towards Victoria.
An Australian first, a self-driving Tesla will today travel more than 800 kilometres from Sydney to Melbourne, and supervising the trip is Drive content director James Ward, who joins me now. Good morning to you, James. Look, not only is this an Australian first, it's also the first time this will be attempted on the left-hand side of the road.
Yeah, Australia is the first market to, and we drive on the left with our steering on the right. We're the first market to get the full self-driving supervised software. So the little grey Tesla and I, we've made our way out of Sydney traffic. It's done all the driving so far. It's made a few questionable decisions, but we're safe and we're happy. I don't need to touch the wheel. I don't need to touch the pedals. It's just doing it all. It's kind of surreal.
James, do you feel safe?
Do you know what? Yeah, look, I do. It's making conservative decisions. I think is probably the best way to do it. Like you're sitting there going, I don't know if I'd be in that lane right now, mate, but it does and it's okay. But it's not putting me in danger, I think is the best thing. And I'll go over to the car to have a look if we go inside.
Yeah.
Sorry, switching that around.
Nice.
You need Trevor here to show you all the tech. So it's a standard Tesla. When you're in there, I've got obviously a cup of coffee. You simply get in the car and say where you're going to go. You put it into the navigation, and basically it does the rest. It looks. You have to supervise. You have to be paying attention. There's a camera on the inside of the car, in the up in the mirror here, that is looking at you, looking at the road, and it warns you that you do need to be paying attention. But in theory, I've got about another 9 hours to go. It will take itself to a charger when it needs to recharge. And fingers crossed, but we've got that's my camera on the roof, by the way. So it's not
You're hoping for more than fingers crossed.
And here's a PSA as well. If someone's had a yellow Nissan stolen, it's here.
That's brilliant. Okay. I mean, I have so many questions, James.
Yeah.
Well, the first one, I find people who merge in Sydney traffic really annoying. How does the car deal with things like that when other drivers could be a bit erratic?
Well, this actually happened earlier. It had its indicator on to change lanes, and there was a car not letting me in, was expecting me to accelerate and go around in front of it, but the car was too polite. And so the guy got annoyed that I didn't move across. So, yeah, you know, and look, I tell you what, it makes lane choices a little later than I probably would. It got lost in Sydney's tunnels, as most people do. So it's the same that way. But, yeah, look, we'll see how we go.
Okay, we'll see how we go all the way to Melbourne. And you've got to stay awake and you've got to stay alert.
I've got a packet of jelly snakes. I've got another coffee, so we should be okay.
James.
But yeah, you have to pay attention. So it is supervised self-driving. So I can't read a book or look out the window or, do some work. And one then begs, why wouldn't I just drive? But that's not the point. We're going to see how it goes.
Well, James,
Okay.
I want to give you one challenge when you get to Melbourne, or the car, the one challenge, a hook turn.
Yeah,
Let's see if we can work
that is
that
a great
out.
one. I will do a hook turn. Well, let's fingers
Let the
crossed.
car do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I look
Okay,
forward to this.
James, you're braver than I am. But thank you and good luck.
Well, look, to be honest, it's actually done a pretty good job so far.
Okay.
And the software has been used in other markets. So hoping it's going to be all right here, but I just hope I don't meet any wildlife or anything like that. So
Or a tram.
We'll see how we go.
Me too. Good luck. We'll
yeah.
be looking back on this in 10 years and going, well, what was all the fuss about?
Well, we've been rolling for about an hour and a half. We've just done an interview on the Today Show, so I hope you caught that. But we're back on the freeway and in a fair amount of traffic at the moment. And the car, it's a 100 kilometre an hour zone, but the car is conservative. You've got traffic merging from the left. You've got a lot of traffic on the right. I'm in the second to left lane. We're doing 65 kilometres an hour in a 100 kilometre an hour zone. We're matched with the Subaru that's in front, but it's not being assertive in a massive way. Now, here we go. Here's a gap. Let's see what happens. No, the Subaru's turning off. So there was an opportunity for it to change lanes and perhaps speed up, but it hasn't done that. So it will build up to speed, and as the traffic thins out, I think we'll see that it will move at a lot more of a regular pace. But it's definitely erring to caution. And look, that's a great thing. But again, it is the understanding of the system. So as I've said before, it is very much a non-aggressive and non-assertive system. It is safe and conservative and a lot more restrained than probably you would be when driving the car. But there we go. So here we are. I'm still in the left lane. There's a car coming up on my right, so again, it's not letting it go. But we're moving up to speed now. So I'm doing 95. It's sort of happy with that. You know, if I was driving, I'd be in the middle lane. That's just good practice, because then you're ready to overtake and you're ready to pass a slow vehicle at the same time. But the Tesla's decided to stay left. So we'll see what happens as the traffic thins out and perhaps how the road goes. The majority of the Hume is 2-lane, so we will sit in the left of those. But again, let's see what happens. I should be stopping in about an hour and a half to fill up in Goulburn, as the car is suggesting. So we'll see what happens there. I'm assuming it's going to take me off the freeway and to the Tesla charging bay. Now here we go. Let me interrupt that train of thought. It's got me in a left exit lane at the moment to go towards Blacktown and Newcastle. Now I don't want to be there, and I am conscious that I really don't want to be there. I don't want to get caught in an exit lane. Let's see what it does. Now, it doesn't seem to be moving across, right? I would have moved well before now. I am going to tell it to move across. Here we go. So there we go. No, and it hasn't done it. So once again, I've missed my exit. And again, the car is driving fine, but it's simply not navigating as well as it really should be. So erring to that left lane, it has taken the left exit rather than the right lane to go straight ahead. So once again, I am going the wrong way to where we need to go, and it's adding more journey to my trip, and it's using more electricity than it really needs to. But these are the learnings that we're doing. So yes, the Tesla has again made a poor lane choice, hasn't put me in danger, hasn't done anything unsafe, but it's very frustrating in terms of navigating more so than driving. Well, there we go. Another up and back. So 1.6k to the next exit, where we'll loop around again and then come all the way back, and then hopefully we'll get it right this time. But once again, fingers crossed.
Well, here we go. We're about an hour south of Sydney. We've got 105 k's roughly to go until the car is going to take me to the supercharger in Goulburn. It reckons there'll be 42% of its battery left at that point, but it is going to take me there. So I've set the navigation address to Melbourne, but the car knows that it will need a charge there, so it will work that out. But we're in a 110 zone here. We're doing 100 kilometres an hour. There's a couple of cars coming up, but I'm approaching a slower truck. So I just want to show you what happens, because there's a couple of things that I have learned so far. And look, I'm sure many of you will be like, geez, James, this isn't new around the world, but it is new to me, because you may or may not know, I'm not a massive Tesla fan. And I was sort of joking that if the car was sort of really kind of plugged into the online zeitgeist, it would know that I have not said a lot of, what we'll say, complimentary things about the way Tesla has gone about stuff over the past few years, that it may just trap me in the car and take me to a shallow grave off an unmarked road. But I sort of joke, this is something for me that's a bit of a learning experience, because, again, I respect and can see the technology involved here, but I'm not a super fan by any stretch, and I think that is the main thing. Gotta say, wish this car had Volvo seats, because lumbar support could be better. I'm just not as comfortable as I really should be, but that's me. Maybe I need a pillow to fix. And what I have learned is that if I have my sunglasses on, the attention monitoring camera there can't see my eyes, and that's when it triggers the requirement to constantly tug at the steering wheel to remind the car that I'm here. It is the sunglasses that is setting that up. So in Australia, we do wear sunglasses all the time. I'm wearing, these are clear lenses at the moment, so it's not triggering that system. But as soon as I put the sunglasses on, the attention monitor can't see me, and it triggers the reminder that I need to tug on the steering wheel. So there you go. I'm very quickly going to answer a question that we've had. Can you get booked for speeding in full self-driving mode? The car's not speeding, and I think this is the thing. I've actually set it to have a 5% variance to speed. So we're in a 110 zone now. It may go up to, what's that, about 106, that it could, 116, sorry, that it could go up to. But it is erring far less than that. So we're behind this truck here. It is sitting at 102, and it is not making any aggressive moves to overtake that truck. So it will always err on the safer side of things, which for me may be a little frustrating, but it's certainly not putting me at risk or in danger. And I think that's the key. The car is making safe and conservative decisions rather than aggressive and risky ones. And that is a crucial thing here. But there we go. Will you get booked for speeding? The car's not going to speed. And yeah, I would be surprised if ever I head over 110, even if I reach 110. Now here we go. You can see this happening live. We've got 3 lanes. The trucks are supposed to move left. So the big green truck has moved left to let the other truck go up. But the other truck, in typical Australian fashion, has not moved left. It's not overtaking the other truck. And I'm not overtaking the truck. But if he slows down, let's see what happens. Will it pull me? Oh no, he's moving left now. There we go. And I will accelerate. So 98. No, mate, no, a little bit slowly, but I'm hardly blasting it back up to 110 to sit here. So that was more of, what do we say? Correlation, not causation. I have passed the trucks because the trucks moved left, not because I moved right. But there you go. Now, what I'm hoping I can show you here is a live lane change. I'm ever so slowly creeping up on this truck. You can see the Hiace now is coming past me. I've got another truck in my rear view mirror. I'm assuming the car will overtake this truck because I tell you what, I would have. Here we go, indicator is on. And we make a lane change. So that is a live example that the car will make a judgment call and move past. You know, accelerates up to 104 here, and you'll watch as we come past, and that distance is safe. So I can see that truck now in my rear view mirror, and in theory we should come back into the left lane. So not yet, still sitting here behind the Hiace, not keeping left unless overtaking for the whole thing. Let's see. No, we're staying in the right lane. Okay, you do you, car. Once again, here we go, coming back. So once again, as a human driver, I would have made different decisions. I would have overtaken earlier and moved back in earlier. So it's some of these late decisions, and you do take a little bit of getting used to, but it's perhaps not the way that you would do it as a human driver. And I think this is the thing. If you are an experienced driver and a confident driver, this system will probably frustrate you. But if you are a very nervous driver, the system will probably concern you, despite it actually being very, very conservative and, like I said, leaning into safety rather than risk. But it does make decisions a bit later than otherwise. And so you can see now that a tipper and dog is going past us because the car is sitting at 103 rather than 110, which is the speed limit. So again, would we have done that if we were driving? Probably not. We would have pulled ahead of a vehicle like that. But if I was a nervous driver, I wouldn't be too happy about being overtaken by a large truck like that. So it is really an interesting thing. Who is this for, and when are you going to use it? Because, yeah, look, I don't know. And again, as soon as I put my sunglasses on, it keeps hassling me to touch the wheel. So I'm keeping sunglasses off for now because it is driving me a bit spare. Well, the question as to what happens when the car needs a charge is about to be answered. As you can see, the car has taken us off the freeway and is navigating to the Tesla supercharger here in Goulburn. And we can sort of follow this through. So I've done none of this. It decided that it wanted to take that exit. I didn't dictate. And we're coming through now to the big Merino, which is, an Australian landmark. So if you are passing through Goulburn, make sure you always go to the big Merino. There it is up there. But it will take us to the charger. And what I'm curious to know is what, if anything, will it do when it gets there? And I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say it will literally back us into a charging bay, and all I'll need to do is get out and charge. So now what's interesting here? So here we go. That Kia has done and pulled into traffic and made a mistake, whereas our Tesla is being a little bit more conservative, not getting hit by a Prado with a bull bar. So, arguments being, the self-driving car made a better judgment call than the very overloaded person driving car. All right, so here we go. We're coming up through. The charging bays are down here, down Lockyer Street. It will, look, and there seems to be a bit of activity down there. Actually, you know what? You know what's funny? Is right now, I believe Tesla are opening a new supercharger here. So there's actually a bunch of people here for an official event. As I roll in a self-driving car, is it going to take me into the charger? No, it's just going to parallel park me here, and then I'm going to need to go in for the rest of the way. So it's parking in front of that Kia Sorento. So it won't take me into the charger. I'm going to need to do that, but there we go. So the question answered. Will it take me to charge? No, it'll just get me to the charger, and the rest is up to me. Well, there we go. Well, here we are at the Goulburn Tesla supercharger site. I've just so happened to arrive here as Tesla is officially opening more charging bays here. So there's all sorts of government officials and bits and pieces. But anyway, I have been here for less than 10 minutes and the car is already charged back up to over 80% from its 44. So these are a very fast charge. And in fact, I've been charging for less time than I actually need to be here because I need to go get a coffee. I need to do a little bit of work. So the charging side of things is actually a lot faster than you'd think. But that's separate to the full self-driving bits and pieces. As we saw, there is a clip where the car drove me to the charger but not into the charger. So it parallel parked me out onto the street. I've had to just drive it in here myself and get things going. But once I'm ready, we'll get back underway and we'll hit the button from here. So we'll see if it'll navigate itself out of the charging bay and be ready to go. But tell you what, I've picked the right time to come because they've got a coffee cart and snacks and all sorts of things. So I've landed on my feet here at sunny Goulburn as the car charges up. Okay, we've charged the car, and like I said, the car charged faster than I expected it to, but we are ready to go. So what we're going to say is basically, I think we just tap that, and full self-driving supervised, we are away, and off we go. So the reason I spoke to the Tesla people, the reason it didn't take us into the charging bay was because this is actually a brand new site here near the big marina. So it hasn't actually been here before. What it will do when we get to Holbrook, now what's this going to do? It's choosing, yeah, okay. It was playing chicken with the Mazda and avoided. But what it will do in Holbrook, because that site has been operating for a while, is it should back us into a bay. So we'll have another look when we get to there. As you can see now, it's got us stopping in Holbrook in 3 hours with a roughly 37% charge, but we're up to 100%. It is really fast, the Tesla supercharger. So definitely works quite well. And again, that's a 300 kilowatt site for any electric vehicle. So there's a Kia EV6 there. So it doesn't matter if you don't have a Tesla, you can still use that site. Now here we go, navigating out. You can see it's waiting. X-Trail coming up the hill, there's nothing there. And as we go, off she goes. And we are not driving, onward and upward from here.
We've done a charge. It's been a very, very quick charge. They are a 300 kilowatt system there. Now, there we go. That was really interesting. It was in the left turn lane coming around this roundabout. And we were on an arrow that said to turn left to get back on the freeway and head back to Sydney, God help us. And it just kind of ignored that and went straight through. So again, yeah, you know, you're not perfect here, Mr. Tesla. But here we go. We're back on the freeway, winding up to 110 again. And we're off to Holbrook, where our next location is. So fingers crossed, another uneventful period of drive to Holbrook. Now, what we've learned is the sunglasses I have, they are the polarized ones. I had a quick try with non-polarized ones, didn't make any difference. So it would need to be a set of sunglasses that have not a particularly dark lens. I spoke to the Tesla people. They said they're aware of this. Some work, some don't. They may have to have a look and see what kinds of sunglasses lens will actually work with the driver monitoring system. But for now, I've got to be no sunnies. Otherwise, I've got to keep tugging at the wheel. Now, here we go. We've got back onto the freeway. There's no other traffic. There's just a truck. It's a little way up ahead, but it's only sitting at 104 there. So again, pretty basic. Yeah, we're not going to get booked for speeding. Bit boring though. It was nice to get out and stretch my legs, to be honest. So if you are doing this, it's not hard.
Well, here is something a little bit unexpected, but it's, well, kind of expected. Roadworks on the Hume Highway, who would have thought? So the speed limit dropped from 110 down to 60. The car has seen that. It is in the process of doing that. So it didn't do it before the roadworks. It's doing that during that first bit of the roadworks. Fair enough. And it's moved to a one up, one down, but the car is managing. It can see a thicker divider there. So that's part of obviously the Tesla sensor array. And just for facts, right? It is all cameras that this car is using. There's no LiDARs and things like that. It's all camera-based technology. But it has seen that and slowed down. So somebody asked the question on one of our posts, how does it know the speed limit? So like in many modern cars, it reads the sign. So it can see that is 80, and well, you can see here it says 80. We're still doing 60. Conservative is probably the best way to describe this car, but it knows what's doing. Another big question was around keep left and less overtaking. We've shown a video where it does that. It'll overtake and then it moves left. The car stays in the left lane as much as possible, and in fact, it doesn't overtake as much as I would, so definitely tick that for conservative. But another question was asked about avoiding potholes, and look, I've got to be honest, I haven't seen terribly many potholes at this point. It's actually been a good stretch of road here, but what I have noticed is where there's been roadkill or dead wildlife on the road, The car is going pretty close to them. At one point we went over a bit of one of them, so I'm not sure if it's even seeing those obstacles on the road. So I'll keep an eye out for imperfections in the road or larger bits of roadkill, but it is something that that was something that I was, concerned's probably not the right word, but want to monitor from this point on. So I'll keep you posted on that. But there we go, Roadworks, it has seen them, it has slowed down, it has figured them out. It's frustrating the guy behind me in the Outlander because we're doing 60 and the speed limit is 80, but we'll assume it's going to speed up again as soon as the roadworks are over. So here's another interesting thing. We are coming up on some roadworks. So you can see this left lane here is set to end with the right lane being continuation. Now, everybody else is moving across and I am not. So here we go. What's it doing? Okay, my indicator is on. There we go. It has seen the cones and it has moved across. Now it says to slow to 40. I can see here it's got 40 on the screen. We're in the contraflow, so we go into the oncoming lane. And it's okay, here we go with no line marking. So you can see on the map, it doesn't read the actual line markings on the road. It's trying to figure out that flow, and it's done that very well as well. Not bad. Do you know what? And it's going to come across really weird. I am impressed. I'm genuinely impressed by this. It's not making me recant anything that I've said. I still don't see a Tesla in my driveway in the future, but I am very impressed about how this is working. So yeah, look, it's not perfect, but it's pretty bloody impressive, I've got to say that.
Well, here we are. It's 1:15. Still a long way to go. I'm still in New South Wales. I haven't passed Gundagai or the dog on the tucker box. I'm about to stop to do another interview, but everything is working kind of as it should. I'll keep saying this, the car is erring too safe and conservative. It is, running slow. It is just taking it nice and easy. I'm not at risk of speeding. I'm keeping left. I'm doing all the right things. We haven't come across any sort of, major imperfections. There's been nothing that's really confused the car since being on the Hume. It's just a bit boring, that's all. The thing is the attention monitor is the kind of the crux here. If I was driving a non-self-driving car, even one that had, say, lane keep, I would probably I'd have a hand on the wheel and I'd feel that movement and I could look out the window and you can sort of relax a little bit. As soon as I look away, it warns me. And so I'm more worried about losing the connection with the attention system than I am of anything else. So I'm kind of concentrating even more out the windscreen, not driving the car, than I would be if I was driving the car. But, and this is kind of, let's look forward from this point. On the Hume, so on the highway section at the higher speeds, it is far more comfortable in this environment than it was at lower speed around town. And I think this is where, if self-driving is to filter into cars, this is the environment where we would see the car saying, I don't need you to be paying attention because I've got this. Because quite frankly, there's not that many decisions for it to make. Even at 100 kilometers an hour, it can see far enough ahead, it's managing the lane, it's overtaking trucks. I don't need to be looking out the windscreen. And I think in a few years of testing and software refinement to perhaps allow long distance, high quality roads for a car like this to be able to go, no, that's okay, you could read a book. That is a very, very real possibility. It's the urban stuff where, look, the car is okay. It just doesn't navigate that well because, there are imperfections in the road and the navigation design. That's where I feel that we might be limited. But here, the car could do just as good of a job without me as with me. And I think that's the crux of it all. Right now, though, I've eaten my snacks, I've had my coffee, kind of, there's only so much to do. This is where you need a buddy on a road trip to tell jokes and talk about, but there's not really even been that much interesting on the road. A few people have spotted the camera on the roof. A few people are just sort of looking. Most people are oblivious and are in their own little happy world. So, you know, we're kind of just another car on the highway heading south with an uneventful drive so far. And I suppose that's kind of what we want. So it's just after 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I left at 7 a.m. and I'm passing Tarcutta, which is in middle of country New South Wales. And Tarcutta is famous because it used to be the halfway point between Sydney and Melbourne on the Hume. Now let's think about this. I left at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. It has been 7 hours to get me to this point. Now, to be fair, I've done a couple of interviews, so I've had to stop to do things, but that hasn't been overly long. We charged the car in Goulburn, but that didn't take very long either. They've all been relatively swift stops, but this is on track to take me 14 hours to do the drive. And so I'm going to give you this to think about, because I've got another 7 hours to think about it. If you are going to do long distance driving like this, are you prepared for it to take longer than if you were driving yourself? Because the car is traveling 10% under the speed limit. Like, let's just be clear. I'm doing 100 now. It is a 110 zone. If I was driving, I'd probably be doing between, and I'm going to be honest with you here, I'd be doing between 115 and 120 kilometres an hour, because there's variance and, you know, it's a little bit above, and that's just comfortable to do. So the fact that I'm travelling 10% under, and it's just a little bit more relaxed and more restrained, so the car's doing a great job. But if you are putting yourself in this position, are you prepared for not driving to take longer than actually driving? Think about that, because I know I'm going to over the next 7 hours. Okay, here is something that we've all been asking for, and it's finally done it. The car moved into the right lane after that truck overtook me, has moved into the right lane, and it hasn't moved back. So I just went past the keep left unless overtaking sign, but I am that person now. The car has moved into this lane. I'm overtaking nothing. There's nothing there. There's nothing around. You can see in the rear view mirror, but it is there. Now I can override this. So let me show you. If I just tap my indicator to move left, it will look and it will make that lane change back. But I have forced it to do that because I don't want to be that guy, and you know, the car is being that guy. But there you go. So it has done what everyone has been worried about. Will it just sit in the right lane? Well, it didn't mean to, and I'm nearly in Albury, so it's taken 7 hours. But yeah, it got confused, I think, when that truck went past. It moved into the right lane and then just sat there. Well, so a few things left to learn, but I'm back in the left lane now. Humanity is restored. Well, we are about to head to another charger in Albury. So the car readjusted its journey and was saying, well, rather than stop in Holbrook, we'll stop in Albury. So here we go, indicator is on. It's taking the exit here. And again, as you can see, I don't know if this goes wide enough, but you can see I am not doing anything here. Where we're braking, you can see here we've got traffic lights. The arrows on the braking mean that the car is slowing down, so it's regaining energy. We're just sort of sitting here, its indicator is on, so it does do absolutely everything in terms of the driving process. You can see, if you've not been in a Tesla, they're actually quite clever. You can see all the different cars here. You can see that it knows that traffic lights are on red up ahead. It knows where we are, but it is taking us to the charger, which is about 2 kilometres from here. Now, this charger has been in Albury for quite some time, so I expect that it will actually take us to a charging bay. But I did say that in Goulburn, and it didn't. So, you know, fingers crossed. But yeah, look, when the light goes green, you will see just how it sort of deals with this kind of traffic. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it just shows from the freeway to urban streets, it can do that the transition really quite easily. So should be, yeah, there we go, green lights.
You can see on the screen now, it says that they're green. We're waiting for all the other slow humans to go, and away we go. I'm doing nothing. The car's just working it out as we cruise through. So you can see here on the map, we've got to sort of fight our way through Albury to get to the charger. So we'll deal with traffic and traffic lights, and then let's see how we go for arriving at the stall. Fingers crossed.
While the car was able to navigate through Albury's urban streets, it simply took me to the charger location rather than to a charging bay. I had to self-drive into the car park and up the ramp to the supercharger setup all by myself. It's worth noting that the day before, when I was working with the Tesla team, I was able to actually navigate to a charging bay in Alexandria near Sydney, where the car went into the car park and reversed itself into a charger parking spot, ready for me to simply jump out and plug in the cable. Nice and easy.
Here we are at the charger in Albury. Now, if you haven't used a Tesla before, if you haven't used a Tesla charger, check this out. You simply hold it in your hand, you press this button, and the car should know that I'm next to it. There it goes. Opens it up, stick it in. That'll go green, and Bob's your uncle. We're charging. There we go. And you can see that we're at 17%, and it's going to take about 25 minutes. So just enough time to go get a cup of coffee. So our final run back to Melbourne now. We're in a park in Albury. We've just done a few little bits and pieces for work. The car is driving itself out of here, and in theory, we will be back on the way and onto the Hume Highway and heading to sunny Melbourne, where I reckon we'll get home probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock. So this has taken over 12 hours, or will take over 12 hours, the entire trip. Which is a lot longer than I would have spent if I was driving, but that's okay. We've learned a lot of things. We've spent a lot of time together. We've bonded, me and the car. What has happened has been unremarkable, but remarkable. And I think this is the thing. The Tesla has done nothing wrong all day, but honestly, out on the Hume Highway, it has behaved itself. It has done everything right. It has not put us at risk. It has not made me intervene. It has not needed to be intervened. It has managed everything. And I think that shows this software and this capability is astounding, quite frankly. But I tell you what, I'm pretty ready to drive a car again. So onward for the last 300 odd kilometres, and let's hope it is as uneventful as the last. And look, the question here is going to be, how will it handle Victorian roads? We still haven't had patchy surfaces or potholes, so there's still a lot of testing and a lot of understanding we need to be able to do. But for this run down the artery of Australia between Melbourne and Sydney, the car has been hugely impressive. Well, the sun is setting on a very long day, and we're still not home. We are, well, 30 k's to McDonald's in Glenrowan, but still about 300 k's back to Melbourne. We're learning a little bit more even still at this stage. With the sun going down, I don't need my sunglasses and we're okay. But the car is keeping itself very, very squarely in the middle of the lane here, which is great. But where you can see there are imperfections, and there was a big divot on the left, but just before, there's been a couple of kind of rough patches that maybe as a human, again, you may just sort of err to move around. The car isn't doing that, and particularly in this dying light. And the reason for looking at this now is dusk is a very dangerous time to be driving in Australia. You do get wildlife, you do get that kind of, the headlights are not effective, but the sunlight is not effective, so it can be a bit hard to see things. The car with its camera array isn't really making any changes as we're driving along here, and I dare say it's not trying to, but again, we haven't pitted this on a road with known potholes. So look, interesting to see what could happen, but as of now, it's not making any adjustments for what look like imperfections or problems in the pavement. We're just sticking to our lane, nice and centered in our lane, but we're not taking any evasive action to avoid what could be bigger bumps. That said, there haven't been any bigger bumps, so you know, it's if a tree falls in a forest, will anyone ever know? So if a self-driving Tesla doesn't avoid the pothole, how can it if the pothole isn't there to begin with? There we go. It has certainly been a long day on our self-driving drive, and I'm desperately needing a coffee because I've only had one this morning, and that's pretty bad for me. So I've given the car the waypoint of the Glenrowan McDonald's here just off the Hume. And again, let's just see what it does. Will it just take us to the front door and then go sort it out, or what? But what has been interesting, as the light shifts, the sun is set, we've moved to dark mode. You can see that we've got our lights on here. It is interesting to see just how many cars are driving in this kind of light without headlights on. Come on, everybody, be better. The car is still just maintaining centre of the road. It's not trying to avoid anything or do anything. So hang on, here we go. Okay, indicator is on. We're coming off into the McDonald's car park. Let's see what it does. I'll put my foot near the brake. It has been fascinating today, I will say. Now, it's not a very busy time at the Glenrowan McDonald's. Probably a bit quicker over that speed hump than I would have thought, but anyway, there we go. And it's going to follow the road. I'm curious to know what it'll do. Is it going to pop me into the car park? I wonder. All right, so McDonald's car park is to the left here. Let's see what it does. Yes. Okay. And does it consider that we're here over the next speed hump? Gotta laugh if it does the drive-through. No, it's parking. Here we go. How's this? Putting me into a bay next to a Defender. Not very well. Across two bays. There you go. Are you going to fix that up, car? No. Well, all right. Near enough is good enough. So we've parked, but we've parked like an asshole. What can you do? I will straighten that up, and I will go and get myself a very overdue cup of coffee. All right. So now we have corrected that. We can start from here on our final run home. All right. Well, we've had a coffee. We've had a quick toilet stop at the handy McDonald's. It's time to get back on the way to Melbourne. Here we go, reversing out of the car spot. Or is it? No, it's not. Come on, car. You're in reverse. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. There we go. Okay, decision was made. Car is going backwards. Car is going the wrong way. Okay, let's see how this goes. No, we're going out this way. All right, well, anyway, we'll let the car figure out the car park. Oh, we're doing a 3-point turn. Here we go. Personally, could have, done it the other way, but that's all right. Doesn't matter. And we will head for the final part of our journey back to Melbourne. Or is it parking again? What's it doing? No, it's parking again. It thinks we're still at McDonald's. Okay. Come on. Okay, here we go. The car has decided we will leave the car spot after reparking us badly again across two lines. We are now heading to Melbourne for our final stage. It's getting a bit dark. It makes the video very hard to see. So the next time we discuss, it will be just a summary once we get to Melbourne, because the car has really shown that it is doing an incredibly good job of this. And is
honestly, I haven't felt unsafe, I haven't felt wary, I haven't felt worried throughout the entire day. So I'm as comfortable as anything to embark at night, mind you, on this last, final, first ever self-driving trip from Sydney to Melbourne, leaving the great Glen Rowan McDonald's for the final run into Melbourne. And I tell you what, it may have taken us a long time, but it's well, it's not exciting, but it's certainly not nerve-wracking. It is quite, I'm not going to say relaxing, but I am quite relaxed. How's that? I might find something else to listen to. I'm a bit sick of podcasts. All right, well, here we are. We're on final approach, if there could be such a thing. We are on CityLink in Melbourne. We're nearby to the Balti Bridge. And I tell you what, it has been a completely incident-free trip. This is quite remarkable, really, that the car has really been able to not just navigate, but drive itself the entire way from Sydney to Melbourne. And yeah, okay, we've stopped for some filming and stopped for some bits and pieces, but you know, the car takes itself to a charger, very quick to charge the car. And to be clear, the electrification side of this, and I know people often conflate self-driving with electrification, totally separate things. The electric car side has been really easy, very fast, those Tesla chargers, so that was very manageable. But the self-driving side has been, honestly, I am very, very impressed. And even on that last stint at night time with less traffic, I'm just sort of staring out the windscreen. I'm a bit over it now, to be honest. It's quite a long way to go, but I'm used to the car and what it's doing. I'm used to being monitored for it. We're running down. We've only got 20% battery left. We're going to get back to the office with sort of 18, 19%, so we're nearly there. But the car has, it's amazing that it has done this. There have been no incidents. There have been no times I've wanted to grab the wheel. There have been no times I've wanted to stamp on the brake. I've never been feeling nervous for my safety. I've been feeling frustrated when it was around Sydney. There were times when I would have changed lanes earlier than the car did. So yeah, there's some learnings from that. And obviously the navigation, it could learn a few things, but it has been, remarkably capable the entire way. So here we go. We're coming across the Balti Bridge. Oh, actually, now here is one thing that is worth calling out. The car hasn't wiped the windscreen once, and I've got lots of dead bugs and things. So again, I'd be squirting the windscreen to do that, but obviously it doesn't need to because it can see through all the bits and pieces that it needs to. So you've got to sit here and look, again, I'm not completely familiar with Teslas. I press the button, the windscreen wipers go on, but I'm not getting any squirters going. So, let me know in the comments how I should have done that. But it's chosen the right lane coming off the Balti Bridge here, which is better than most, I will say. Nice and easy around the big banked curve. And we will be arriving in South Melbourne in 6 minutes. There you go. Not bad. It's been a long day. All right. We'll get to the Drive office and I'll add my final thoughts. Here we are at the final set of traffic lights here in South Melbourne. We've covered that near 900 kilometre journey. It has taken me a lot longer than I expected, but granted, we did stop for a few things. The things that we have learned today, though, with self-driving technology on this pioneering trip is that, well, first and foremost, it works. And got to admit, I've been skeptical. I didn't think it would happen. But it has worked, and it has done it well, it has done it safely. Even the previous set of lights there went orange and red, and a car went through it right in front of us, but the Tesla stopped. So the technology is erring towards safety, and I think that's the key thing. It has been a very conservative trip. It has taken things more gingerly than I ever would have, but it has done so to be safe, and I think that's the first thing. There's been some interesting decisions made, but of course I can say that as a human who's done these things I can very easily chastise the car for being in the wrong lane or doing whatever. So it's not perfect, but it's still, we're here in one piece and we're here safe and sound. The question then begs, as this gets rolled out to customer vehicles, here we go. No, it was about to go down the tram tracks, but it's made the decision not to. So again, you can see it working these things out and it solves the problem. But as this gets rolled out to customer vehicles, is this going to be sustainable? Like, what will happen? Will someone take liberties with the system and do something stupid that will see the policy rolled back? Will it be made non-available in Australia is what I'm getting to. So it's one of those things that does need to be tested. Have I always agreed with the way that Tesla essentially live market tests technology like this? No, I haven't. I haven't agreed with the name autopilot because up until this point, it's basically been cruise control. But all of that said, this self-driving supervised technology is incredibly impressive. Should you be using it to do the Melbourne to Sydney trip? No, because it takes longer. Just drive the car. Should you be using it to navigate around your local neighbourhood? No, really? Just concentrate and drive your car. But will we see this technology become the first iteration of what our next generation of drivers will be experiencing? Yes, and I think that is the key here. As I roll here there's the pub next to the office. As I arrive here at the Drive office in one piece with 20% charge, it's going to figure out, it's probably even going to parallel park at the office, but here we are, we have made it, and it's pulling in, and we are done. And there we go. For the first time ever, from Sydney to Melbourne, we've driven a car without driving a car. Now, if you've got questions, as I'm sure you do, please hit us up in the comments here. Come to Drive.com.au, ask us the questions in the post. We'll run this all in a story. I know a lot now, but I don't know everything from the full technical side of things. So we can talk to Tesla, we can see what's going to happen in Australia, we can try and get some more timing on when this is going to roll out. But for the most part, if this is something you've been waiting for, if this is something you've been thinking about, if this is something that you've been excited about, it's here. And it works, and it can do it. And I tell you what, it's been a very, very long day. It is now just 9 o'clock. So there we go. That is, 14 hours that has taken me. That's probably a bit long, but we're here safe and sound. And yeah, there you go. Tesla, full self-driving supervised from Sydney to Melbourne, done.